The Canadian men's national team had a lot of hype surrounding them leading up to the 2022 World Cup, and for good reason. Their rise has been simply incredible as they topped the Ocho, securing the return to the World Cup for the first time since 1986. There were talks of big group stage upsets, history in the making, and an underdog story like no other. However, in the end, Canada went 0 wins, 0 draws, and 3 losses and went home early. Despite not getting the results they were looking for, the tournament did provide these Canadian players with experience at the highest level, which is priceless, and it will help them when it comes time to play in the 2026 World Cup, which they will be co-hosting. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh man, these past 18 months watching Canada were amazing. I don't want to wait 4 years to watch them play meaningful soccer again. Well, the good news, you won't have to. The next 4 years will be filled with plenty of opportunities to watch the Canadian men's national team play some amazing fixtures, and today I'm here to break them all down for you. Hopefully you are all excited, and if you are, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub, and let's get into the episode now. First up for the Canadian men's national team will be the conclusion of their CONCACAF Nations League group stage, as they will be traveling to Curacao to play Curacao on March 25th, 2023, followed by hosting Honduras a few days later on March 28th. Just in case you forgot how things stand in the group for Canada, currently Honduras are in first place with a 2-win, 0-draw, and 1-loss record. Canada sits second with a 1-win, 0-draw, and 1-loss record, and Curacao are in third place with a 1-win, 0-draw, and 2-loss record. Only the first place side moved on to the semifinals, which means Canada pretty much have to win the next 2 matches if they want to advance. If Canada are able to secure top spot, they will play in the semifinals in June of 2023, and more than likely they will be joined by Mexico, Panama, and the United States. However, all groups are still wide open, and these are how the groups currently stand. In the last edition of the CONCACAF Nations League, Canada went out in the group stage in heartbreaking fashion, defeating the US 2-0 at home before losing in the reverse fixture 4-1 as the US marched on to win and become the competition's first champions. These next 2 matches are massive for Canada as they will be looking to make it to the semifinals for the first time and hopefully go on to win their first piece of silverware since the 2000 Gold Cup. Speaking of the Gold Cup, that's the next tournament we are going to talk about. As long as Canada finishes in at least second place in the CONCACAF Nations League group stage, they will automatically qualify for the 2023 Gold Cup, which is to be held June 24th to July 16th, 2023 in the United States. The Gold Cup, as usual, will have 16 nations competing in the tournament, one of which will once again be Qatar due to a prior arrangement. On September 2nd, 2020, CONCACAF announced that the 2022 FIFA World Cup host Qatar would participate in the 2021 and 2023 editions of the Gold Cup. The remaining teams would qualify through the 2022-2023 CONCACAF Nations League or through the 2023 Gold Cup qualifying tournament. Canada in the 2021 Gold Cup had an impressive performance, finishing second in their group behind the US and advancing to the semifinals where they would eventually fall 2-1 against Mexico. It was a solid campaign considering they didn't have Jonathan David or Alphonso Davies at their disposal. The tournament, however, gave the perfect opportunity to Buchanan, Eustachio, Johnston, and Miller, who all had stellar performances that cemented them into starting roles with the national team from there on out. The US men's national team went on to win the 2021 Gold Cup as well, and they are the defending champions of both tournaments that Canada will be competing in 2023. This will be another huge chance for Canada to win an international trophy, and I'm pretty confident that John Herdman will be taking both competitions very seriously. Canada has shown that they can battle it out with the best of them in CONCACAF, as well as in the world, so naturally the next step for them will be to win an international tournament. You would have to imagine if Canada were able to bring their strongest squad to the 2023 Gold Cup, they would back themselves to go all the way. Canada are starting to prove that they belong in the Kings of CONCACAF discussion. However, trophies and history are a big reason why the US and Mexico are number 1 and 2 on that list. So if you want to see Canada try and make history in the CONCACAF Nations League and Gold Cup, follow along here on One Soccer as we'll be bringing you all of the matches. It's been fantastic to watch Canada compete in CONCACAF in qualifiers, Nations League, and Gold Cup over the past few years. However, there was a bit of a worry leading up to the 2022 World Cup that Canada were not playing enough elite-level competition that could hurt them come the group stage. In the final window before the World Cup, Canada was able to arrange friendlies with Qatar and Uruguay, along with a friendly against Japan before the tournament began in November. Those were all solid fixtures, there is no denying that. However, before the September 2022 international window, Canada had not played a nation outside of CONCACAF since January 2020 when they had a friendly against Iceland. For Canada to continue to improve, they need to play more top nations from around the world. Scheduling friendlies is one way to make that happen, which I would love to see, but friendlies have a bit of a different feel to them compared to competitive fixtures. Luckily for Canada, it looks like there's a chance that they will participate in the 2024 Copa America along with the US men's national team. This will give them a shot at playing top nations like Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. Now you're probably asking yourself, wait, how is it that Canada can play in a competition outside of their confederation? Well, here's one way. There are only 10 South American nations, which means since 1993 for the Copa America to be nicely balanced, they invite 2 guests per tournament. The 2024 Copa America had been expected to be hosted by Ecuador due to CONMEBOL's host rotation order. However, CONMEBOL President Alejandro Dominguez said Ecuador had been nominated but not yet chosen to organize the cup. Ecuador has now declined the opportunity to host the tournament, while Peru and the United States have both expressed interest in becoming the new host, which could see the return of an expanded 16-team tournament. The 16 nations competing would be the 10 South American nations, Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, Uruguay, and Venezuela, as well as 6 CONCACAF nations. The tournament would look like this. There will be 4 groups of 4 teams. Each group will play a round-robin tournament in which each team is scheduled to play 3 matches against the other teams in their same group. The top 2 teams from each group would then advance to the quarterfinals.
We understand how important it is to have these competitions. We're also discussing with FIFA about a test event, similar to what they had here with the Arab Cup. So those are all things that are going to help not just our host nations, of course, but also help all our nations in CONCACAF.
Back in 2016, there was a special edition of the Copa America called the Copa America Centenario. That took place between the usual 4-year cycle and featured an expanded tournament of 16 teams, all 10 nations from CONMEBOL and 6 nations from CONCACAF. The United States, Mexico, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Haiti, and Panama were the CONCACAF nations that qualified. It's wild to think just how far Canada has come considering they weren't even able to qualify for this tournament in the past. The tournament ended up being a massive success, and it also provided those CONCACAF nations with the opportunity to play elite-level competition. Whether the Copa America Centenario returns fully or not, what us Canadians can look forward to is the unique opportunity to potentially feature in the 2024 edition of the Copa America, to play top nations outside of CONCACAF, and to have yet another tournament we can look forward to that will help us prepare for the 2026 World Cup. So get ready, Canada. The 2022 World Cup may be over, but this is just the beginning, as there is a lot of Canadian men's national team content to look forward to in the years to come. I hope you all enjoyed the episode, and if you did, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, friends.